The behavior, attitude, body language, and arrogance of INEC as personified and represented by its chairman, Professor Mahmoud, anything is possible under INEC. Anything should be expected. Postponing the election of the governors and House of Assembly election has been foreseen.
Your reaction is to the postponement of the governorship and state assembly elections, especially in light of the cost, which is being put by some analysts at more than $2 billion.
Well, it didn't come to me as a surprise anymore. From the behavior, attitude, body language, and arrogance of INEC as personified and represented by its chairman, Professor Mahmoud, anything is possible under INEC. Anything should be expected. Postponing the election of the governors and House of Assembly election has been foreseen. In fact, let me add that I would not be surprised. They postponed the election to give them enough time to assemble the winners even before the election. I would not be surprised that in the kitties of INEC, they have the names of people to be declared as governors. It's just a matter of time. Therefore, postponing or taking over the election anytime by INEC is just a pre-arranged issue. It's an RNG business. We have no confidence anymore in INEC. We have lost confidence in them. I knew Mahmoud more than 20 years ago. The impression I had about him then, but not now, was he is gentle, unassuming, decent. But with the way and the manner and the speed, head, neck, shoulder, and leg, he ignored every clarion call, and he participated in perpetrating and putting in place the most scandalous, the most fraudulent, the most irresponsible election process in the history of Nigeria, in spite of the billions of naira he requested for, in spite of the billions of naira released to him, in spite of all the assurances that are now turned out to be fake.
Well, we have to be, I understand the passion, obviously, that you have, and you support Atiku Abubakar, who, according to the official results, came second. So I can understand the passion that you feel about the way that you think the election was conducted. But obviously, we don't, I mean, you're going to court. Atiku Abubakar is going to court, the PDP is going to court, and would have to wait to see what evidence they put forward in that courtroom. But from your point of view as a supporter of Atiku, is a picture emerging from your vantage point of how the PDP intends to approach its legal challenge to the outcome of the presidential election in a court of law?
I leave the preparedness, the arrangement, the scholarship, and the skills of the team of 19 senior advocates of President Atiku to perfect their skill and their art in the court of law, either at the tribunal or eventually at the Supreme Court. That is in the area of the legality. But what I do have is that the moment, in fact, 6 hours into announcing the results, from Mahmoud's body language, I saw it coming. And the moment he declared Tinubu as the winner, 4 things came into my mind. Number one, I remembered Chinua Achebe. In his book, Arrow of God, Chinua Achebe said, if you see an old woman dancing in the middle of the bush, dancing and dancing and dancing endlessly, using all the styles, all the tricks, but you who is watching the old woman have not had or seen any drama, have not heard the music she is dancing to. Achebe said, if you don't see the drama, that old woman knows the drama. If you don't hear the music, that old woman hears the music. Therefore, for Mahmoud to unilaterally ignore all the clarion calls, ignore all the infractions, ignore all the clear, glaring evidences of fraud and misrepresentation in the election, he was dancing to a music, he was dancing to a drum. We know the drummers, we know the rhythm he is dancing to, and time will tell who were those drummers. The drummers made him to dispossess millions of Nigerians of their preferences and their choices to choose in a free and fair election. He destroyed whatever integrity he has in the eyes of the society. Indeed, all the 4 years promises he has been doing now has come to pass. Luckily, on 22nd November 2022, last year, he issued out a press statement signed by Okoye and he addressed a press that he has heard that people are peddling a rumor that he is conniving to rig the election of 2023. It has now come to pass. We have seen him as an actor, an active actor, along with his cohorts in shortchanging Nigerians and participating in the most fraudulent election in the history of Nigeria. Secondly, what came to my mind is that those who read Shakespearean books, particularly the book of Hamlet, there is one message. One evil will lead to so many evils, and evil will never stand. In that particular drama called Hamlet, the Spirit of Denmark, King Claudius, King Hamlet, was on the throne with a beautiful queen. His younger brother, Claudius, poisoned and killed him. For what? He took over the throne and he married away the queen. Soon after taking over that throne, fraudulently, like taking over elections fraudulently, King Claudius was shown in a kneeling position, praying, and he said, "Oh God, what form of prayer will serve my purpose? To forgive my full murder?" And he answered himself, he said, "That cannot be. Since I am still in possession of the fruit of the murder, my queen, my own crown, my own ambition." And he asked, can one return the fruits of his crime and seek for God's forgiveness? If you steal election, if you participate in a fraudulent election, you are participating in a fraud, and fraud will never stand because fraud is evil. Subsequently, he died. He lost the crown. He lost the queen. In the process, the prince was killed. Laertes was killed. Polonius was killed. Ophelia was killed. In fact, only 2 people survived. One, a gentleman, Horatio. The other one, Potumbarus, Prince of Norway, who was standing to defend his honor and to defend his own integrity. We will continue to defend our integrity and our honor and our votes until the day when we see evil crashing, crumbling, and it will be subdued. It will be reduced into a pitiable combustible material.
Well, let's just be very clear there that the two contexts are different. I mean, you use the Shakespearean example, but that's obviously totally different. And also, I need to make clear, because INEC are not here to defend themselves, that they have said repeatedly that they didn't engage in any kind of fraud and that they were hampered by technical and logistical glitches. So I need to make that ineluctably clear. But some in the PDP...
If they are hampered...
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
If they are hampered by technical hitches as admitted by them, the right thing to do is to look inwards, make the corrections, make amendments.
is that it is in a court of law now,
You
or at least
understand?
it's heading to a court of law, so
Yeah.
it'll be determined in a court of
they
law
are-
the
they are-
extent
they are
of their
admitted-
negligence
they
or
are-
culpability.
They admitted that there were technical hitches. International observers discredited these elections. Local observers discredited this election. There are clear, glaring evidences of fraud and involvement of INEC officials, security officials in undermining the election. The provision of the act of INEC provided that he can review within 7 days. He never reviewed. He went head on, arrogantly, without any remorse. To do what? To declare a winner.
Well, to put it mildly, it sounds like there's a massive trust deficit here. And of course, you're not alone. I mean, there are lots of Nigerians who share your views, but also quite a lot of people who are on the other side, who support the results and who believe that the candidate of the APC, Bola Tinubu, won fairly and squarely. But some in the PDP, I mean, let's look at what has happened subsequently, because people have gone to court. I mean, the Labour Party, the PDP, asking to see the materials. They've been given that permission. Then INEC went back to court and asked for for the judgment to be varied, and to some extent it secured it because it allowed it to reconfigure the beavers. But some in the PDP and Labour, and I wonder where you stand on that, have suggested that they would have preferred INEC not to have tampered at all with the beavers' devices that were used for the presidential election, but should have made financial provisions to get a different set of devices for the governorship elections. I wonder where you stand on that.
Mr. Charles, my stand is very clear. Even the one with the most elementary knowledge of ICT is that the moment these beavers machines are wiped, the argument is that you get it from the back end. The back end is the back end of fraud. Any server that has a back end, and every server has a back end, you can tamper with the back end at will, at your own convenience, at your own speed. Wiping the beavers' memory is a clear-cut fraud, and it means INEC are just playing on a script. They have a script. They have not dispossessed Labour Party and PDP Party from accessing and snapping the beavers' machine memory directly. Relying on the back end is just relying on somebody who is who you are owing money. You are owing him money, and he told you, "I will pay you money on Judgment Day." Yet, when you are doing your accounting, you always put that amount of money, fully aware that that money is not going to come during your lifetime, it's going to be during the lifetime at Judgment Day. So we take exceptions to that. That is not fair. That is not balanced. That is not professional. And that is changing millions of people. And that is as casting additional doubt on the integrity of the entire election process, on the integrity of INEC, and the integrity of all other people who participated in the fraud.
I can obviously surmise from what you've said that you're disappointed with INEC's performance on February the 25th.
Extremely disappointed.
And as I said, there are a lot of people.
Disappointed.
There are a lot of people who would agree with you. And you've also said that, in a sense, you're bracing yourself for another assault from the Electoral Commission on March the 18th. All this, of course, bearing in mind that you support an aggrieved candidate, Atiku Abubakar. But let me ask you this, because you're in Kaduna. The elections have been postponed, the governorship elections, till the 18th of March. I wonder how that election and the campaign leading up to it is shaping up in Kaduna, where you are. I mean, we had Uba Sani a couple of days ago on this program, and he seemed quite confident, but it does look as if it's going to once again be between the big four parties, the APC, the PDP, Labour, and the NNPP? Or is it more of a two-horse race in your assessment?
Well, unfortunately and sadly, it is a contest between Islam and Christianity. Unfortunately, in Kaduna State, it's going to be a contest between those who are for Muslim ticket and those who are for Muslim Christian ticket. It's going to be a contest between Muslims and Christians agreeing to work on one side, and Muslims who are insisting on having a Muslim ticket. This is how dicey it is. This is how dangerous it is. This is how tricky it is. And that is why there is growing apprehension, there is growing tension, there is growing uncertainty, because the two warring factions are at daggers. They are prepared. They are willing to do a do or die affair. I call on security agencies to, as a matter of urgency, ensure that they intervene very urgently in Kaduna State, in Katsina, in Kano, and particularly in Zamfara and Niger, because there is a glaring desperation between the actors and the actresses. Government officials are directly involved. They have descended into the arena. Religious bodies are involved. Clergies, clerics, laities, imams, bishops, malams, call them ustazes, they are all involved. Many of them have been compromised financially. Many of them are calling for war. I have seen a clip of a cleric who was saying that if you come to a place where he is preaching and you object to his brand of preaching, he will send you to a cemetery. His boys will send you to a cemetery. This is in Kaduna. I hope the security agencies are watching and they are willing to do the right thing. They are willing also to remain neutral and balanced and honest and responsible, because they are being paid from the common man's money. They are being paid from the taxpayers' money. It is a clarion call. It is urgent. It is important.